Welcome back, students. So in continuation to AWS S3 bucket, today I will be demonstrating you how we can create a new object and then how we can make that new object public. So let's get started. So before we start creating object and make that public, there are few important points that you need to keep in mind. So like public access, first thing is it is not recommended, and I personally also do not recommend it. And sometimes, let's say if there is a need, you want to make any file, any image public, then you should know the steps. So that is only here I'm demonstrating it for knowledge sharing. And also there are certain public access settings that you can check from AWS knowledge portal, but I have just given here same like as per AWS documents. Important to check is granting public access through bucket and object ACL doesn't work for buckets that have S3 object ownership set to bucket owner enforced. I will show you what does it mean, but this is important to check. And also you can also control it using IAM policies, and you can even define ACLs that I will be demonstrating further in the chapter. And there is one warning that after you make several objects public, there is no option to undo this action for several objects at once. To remove public access, you must go into each object in the AWS S3 console, and then from the permissions tab of the object, modify public access, and then you can change it from there. So these are the points that you should consider before you proceed, and this is important to know as well. And now I will be showing you practically that what does it mean, what is bucket owner enforced, and how we uncheck it, and how we make a object available publicly. So let's get started. Let me start my S3 console now. So here I will go to services, I will go to S3 console, and now here as we see, let's create new bucket. I will call this class demo, and then all these settings you know very well, so I leave it default for now, and I will just create the bucket. And if you still have any doubts about this, then please go to few chapters before, I think chapter number 8 or 9. There I have demonstrated how you can create the bucket and what does these all options mean. So it is saying bucket with same name already exists. Okay, so we call it class demo 2, and then I create the bucket. Okay, so now this new bucket is created. I will go inside it and I will try to upload one file. Add file. I will add a file from here. Let's say I will add this file and then upload. So it will take a while to upload. Okay, so now file is uploaded. Now if I go here, so this is the file, a PNG file, a small file that I have uploaded here. And now next thing is, let's say object URL. If I copy this, if I go here and if I access it, access is denied because it's still not public, so we cannot access it. So now next step is how to make it public. So for that, what we need to do, if you see here under permissions, then under this ACL, so now for public or like for everyone, there is nothing like read, no read or write. So that means now we have to go back to the bucket level permissions again and check the ownership, and also if by default enable public is disabled, so we have to check that as well. So let's go back now to the bucket, and then we will make the changes there. So I click here on my bucket class demo, and then we go to permissions, and you see here block public access, block settings. So this is on and we have to disable it. So I will just disable it from here and then save changes. It is asking to confirm. I will confirm it. Okay, and now I will close this. If we still browse, you see still it's not accessible. Now what is next we have to do is we have to go here to our bucket, again to the file, the PNG file. Now we go to permissions, and here still you see it is saying when bucket owner enforced is applied, use bucket policy to control access do not work, because that means bucket owner is enforced still. So this is what even AWS documentation also suggests, that we have to see the bucket owner. If that is enabled, then you cannot do this. So if we again go back to the bucket, we go back to permissions, and if you see here, the object ownership, if we just open it, so by default ACL is disabled. And now before we disable it, we go for ACL enabled. I just want to show you one more thing. If we go to, let's say, I will go back to our bucket, and here if I go to the actions, and then you see make public using ACL, this is grayed, disabled. Why? Because still we have to remove that ownership which is existing for the bucket. So now let's go back to bucket. I go back to the bucket here. I will just open it. Let's go to permissions, and here now we will come down to object ownership, and then here I will make it ACL enabled. So now it is saying here, we recommend disabling ACLs unless you need to control access for each object individually or to have object writer own the data they upload. So using a bucket policy instead of ACLs to share data with users outside of your account simplifies permissions managed and auditing. So that means if you have to control now, then you have to enable the ACLs. So just mind it. I acknowledge this, and then I just keep it bucket owner preferred and save the changes. Now this is done. Now let's go back to buckets. I will open this bucket and I will go to this object, and here under permissions, now you see I can edit it, and you can make it everyone read. So from here as well, and also you can do it from the object actions. You see here now make public using ACL, this is enabled. So either you go to permission, you edit from here, or you just go to object actions and you make this public. While public read access is enabled and not blocked by block public access setting, anyone in world can access the specified objects. So just keep this in mind, and then make public. This is enabled. Now let's try to browse it. You see here now this is working. So, and now I will also show you one more thing. If you see here ACL is now updated, and you see here, so object has a read permission, but like that means that we are still able to save this image. So this is how we can enable the permissions. And now if you want to disable it, then you simply can just uncheck it and then just save it. And now you try to access it again, and you will see it is blocked. So this is how you can make your objects available publicly. So this was about it. There is one more option. Let's say if you want to share it for certain time period, then that can also be done. So for that, what we can do, just go here, go back to the bucket, let it load back. It's loading the object. Then just select it, and then if you go to action here, you see here share with a pre-signed URL. If you go to this, then we can give here for certain time limit also. For example, 1 minute. I'm keeping here 1 minute and create pre-signed URL. Now a pre-signed URL for this has been created and copied to your clipboard. So I copied it, and this I will still see I'm not able to access through this public access, but like that pre-assigned URL, that is different. It will be available, but it will be available only for a minute. So after 1 minute, this will be gone by default. So that is another benefit of sharing it time-based access. Sometime, let's say if you are sharing one important file to someone and you want that should be accessed within next few minutes, 5 minutes, an hour, just give that timeline, and then you can make sure that this is again blocked. So it's almost a minute. Let's take a look now. I will go here and I will try to browse it. And you see here, 1 minute is over, and now this is no more available. So you see here expires. So this time, so that means it is now expired. So that is another benefit. So this was just an overview how you can make objects public through S3 bucket. Next will be now what is another option to download the objects, like let's say wget, and what are the various ACLs option that we have. Let's say if we want to provide object access to certain networks, certain IPs, locations, how we can achieve that. That is something I will be now explaining and doing practically in my next session. So stay tuned, and thank you. So subscribe
like and hit bell icon to my channel. Thank you.